Welcome to the Rattle Cruise podcast. We're doing a little bit early and a day later. So a day late, dollar short, as they say. But welcome to this Rattle Cruise podcast. I am your co-host, Payron Baxter.
I'm your co-host, Ram Sandoval. Hello, everyone.
And of course, as always, we like to dig deep to reach high and of course, always progress through action. And before we get into it, please make sure if you're listening to this or watching this, wherever you are, make sure you like, share, and subscribe the Rattle Cruise podcast because that is how we stay independent. That is how we get the news to you through a black and brown lens and get it directly to you, not influenced by the big money and the corporatized folks. And hey, we're getting some Rom. I don't know if you know this, brother. We're getting some heavy hitters out there trying to offer us millions of dollars. Spotify's, the Joe Rogan types, the Nelk boys and Theo Vaughns. We're about to be out that for the black left. But please make sure, and we'll put the QR code up there real quick here. Put the QR code on screen. That right there is how you can support us. Every dollar goes a very long way. And if you guys could just give us, just a buck or two. I know times are hard, but this is how we stay connected. This is how we keep the word going, and that is how we stay alive as a platform. So please make sure you support the Rattle Cruise podcast. Rom, before we get into it, I don't know if you know this. It's Friday. Do a little loosey goosey. Sinners was nominated for 16 Oscars.
Broke a record.
Broke his
for nominations record. So,
what are your thoughts there?
Well, is it going to win? I think that 16 nominations, and you saw, I think it was the Emmys, they were overlooked, and there was another award recently that they didn't win. I think it was the best movie last year. So personally, I think it was one of the best movies I've ever seen. I think it's well deserving of 16 Oscar nominations. I mean, from the music, from the direction, best. I think is it up for Best Picture as well?
Oh yeah.
So it was that movie. I mean, it's the only movie I've seen 3 times. I don't see movies more than once.
You don't.
I saw it 3 times.
Very low movie kind of index guy. Very low movie index.
I love movies, but I see it once and I'm good.
Yeah, I got it. It's up there. I got
it. But I bought it. I have it. I've actually watched it more than I actually watched it 4 times. I saw it 3 times in the theater, just because there was so much that was happening, and from a musical perspective and from a direction perspective, that music. I mean, that movie was it hit all the the right notes for me. Very unique in my opinion.
Yeah. 16 Oscar nominations. Of course, we know Variety snubbed it early on, saying it's only made 60% of its budget back in the first weekend. Is that enough to actually become profitable?
Melania is booming at the box office. It's up to a whole $2 million on a $30 million budget.
It was $40 million though, wasn't it?
They put something. Yeah, they pull it. It's out. It's already gone from theaters.
It's already out of theaters.
It was a pitiful opening. But sorry, proceed. Continue.
No, that's good because I'm sure people were using that as a place to go, cheat on their wives at. Let me just go here. There's no one in here. I know no one will see me here if I go into Melania. But no, so it was snubbed by Variety. Will it make its money back? It was snubbed by, I believe it was Rolling Stone is not one of the best movies of 2025. It got 16 Oscar nods. And with that, I think, if Sinners had if the premise wasn't they were at a juke joint, but they were either enslaved or Jim Crow, or where they were actually having to fight the system of the man, I think it wouldn't have had all those negative accolades or negative responses on the front end, right? But I think since it was a movie that was centered in self-governance, right? Yes, of course, they were under a Jim Crow system at the time, but it's really how Black people and Asian people and Native people come together and how we self-govern, right? We didn't care about what Whitey was doing in the better part of town. That was a movie that had all the cultural touchstones and mile markers that we all knew and grew up with, right? That was the beauty of a movie like Sinners, that it was directed at us through the lens of us, not through the lens of who we were as these slaves. Oh, master gonna get us. Like, it was hard. Anytime, the only time when Remy and them showed up to the door, you had Smoke being like, y'all playing, which is now a meme. Like, basically being like, this is the one time, like, we view you as a threat, you know, and then here we're safe. So I think if it didn't have that, I think it wouldn't have got all that kind of negative press on the front end. And you know, I think also, to your point, like, it was there's stuff that we don't have to really explain to one another, right? That it seems like white America missed, right? And this is why I think afterwards, me and you were talking, and like we saw a lot of the other, you know, either white creators or white celebrities or even white people in our circles that they were like, it was good, because like it was speaking language, it wasn't to you. And
it was like, oh, for a vampire movie, it was okay. You know, it's like, to me, it wasn't a vampire. Like,
it wasn't a vampire movie.
I don't think of it a vampire movie like that.
Right.
That was very much secondary. Like, and like, there's things. It's okay for things to go over your head. I'm not like, you know, I think part of going to a movie, you know, or watching a show and talking about it, reading about it, diving deeper. There's some movies that and shows that are very much worthy about it, and you know, the opinions are different, right? And that's kind of the fun part. I mean, for me, I'm not a vampire movie person. The first time I watched the movie, it didn't occur to me that they couldn't invite them in. I'm like, why are they standing out the door? You know what I'm saying? And then I read about it, I'm like, oh, and my friend was like, what you do? Like,
it's like pretty like old school vampire lore.
So it's okay, like, you know, to not know everything culturally.
But vampire's not culture, right?
It's
cinematic,
pop culture. Yeah,
but like
or cult fiction, what they call it, cult.
Yeah, but like when we watch something about, like, you know, the queer community, we watch something about, you know, I watched movies and documentaries about the trans community, like, and there's like, I didn't know, but then you sit there and then, to your point, Ron, what do? You research it. You realize, oh my gosh, I didn't realize this is what they deal with. I didn't realize this is how they talk to one another. This is how they communicate. This is how they survive. This is how they live. This is how they thrive.
Historical references, you know.
Historical references, right? Exactly. All those things that, like, it's almost like when the show Watchmen came out, and a lot of America found out about Tulsa in 2019. They were like, "Oh my God, Tulsa! I've been white my whole life in this country," and like that show. I don't know if you watched that show, but that show was brilliant.
I love that one. That was
it was.
I mean,
fantastic.
HBO was like,
HBO on Sundays at 9:00, one of the best places to be. But that really opened up a lot of white people's eyes to like what this country was, and it was rooted in reality. And ironically, I think it's also telling history forward and backwards, because they're talking about a masked police state. Remember, they all had the yellow masks, and they were police officers. We're going to get in that in a second. So there's that. But yeah, I'm rooting for Sinners. It was historically grounded, culturally relevant, and a box office success at a time where they were trying to get people to go back to theaters and get excited about cinema. And Ryan Coogler's intelligence about all the technology, you know, for him to shoot smoke and stack, and how he smoked a cigarette and passed it to him. So, like, all that was like high level technology. And then he did that special video where he was talking about the film reels. And have you seen that one where he's like, this film was shot on this type of lens? This is before the movie came out.
Oh yeah.
That shit had me like, damn, like this brother got it going on. So
and it's funny. My daughters watch Parent Trap, which you know they had what's her name? You know, which was kind of that dual thing.
Lindsay Lohan, right?
It was Lindsay Lohan. It was like okay, it's, you know, I remember if there's other movies and see it like how it was done back then, but like the way that it was done in this movie was, you know, it's really cool. But you know, the art imitates life, right? And it tells a story in creative ways, and I think that's one of the reasons why the arts are under attack, you know, in terms of trying to, you know, this administration, this regime trying to control all the media companies, Paramount, Warner Brothers, Netflix, all of this crazy. TikTok is now under some who knows control. I'm assuming Larry Ellison. the same people who own Paramount now, who own CBS, and it kind of uncovers, and even these negative reviews that Senator was getting from Variety and multiple entertainment magazines all goes back to
What was
a
his
man
name?
named
Penske.
Jay Penske.
Penske, yeah.
So it's like in his vendetta, right? And so
who's a racist,
right? So it's like I think people need to be aware of the media. I think it's a web. At this point, it all goes back to the top 1%, which we know, but what are their beliefs? What are they trying to control? What is the messaging? And so you see it happening with Twitter real time. You see it happening with CBS real time. They are attempting to take over Warner Brothers, take that sale, pull it from Netflix. Netflix is seemingly standing 10 toes down. When I become a billionaire, I hope that I continue to abide by my principles of like, I'm not going to sell out to whoever. It's crazy to me that that so much is under control of a few handful of people, and we accept it. And so I think just being aware of those things is important as well.
Well, that said, just a real quick aside, and again, we're gonna stay in culture for a few more minutes here, folks. The second highest amount of nominations was One Battle After Another. Did you see that movie?
I did.
What were your thoughts about One Battle After Another? We haven't talked about that on the show.
So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. At first, I was like, what's going on? I personally think Tiana Taylor in what's the movie with Taraji? Enough.
The one, the Netflix joint.
Yeah, that was called. What was that movie called? Anyways, I'm gonna look that up. So I was like, this is a weird movie, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of feeling the revolutionary vibes. And personally, I liked the movie. I thought Tiana Taylor was okay, but I kind of disliked her character, so it was hard for me to like, which is good too, which means she's done some good acting, right? Of like, man, I hate her character, but kind of what she stood for. But I enjoyed the movie. I didn't think it was the best movie of the year or Sinners. My wife and I, we watched it. We were both kind of like, what is this? Because I really went into it not knowing what to expect. But then you see, Benicio del Toro pop up, Leonardo DiCaprio's in it. It's obviously a star-studded cast, and I thought it told a really good story. The girl who played the daughter, I thought was really good.
She killed it.
So by the end of it, I was like, oh, I'm actually surprised. I forgot to text you, but I was like, I've texted a few friends, and I was like, y'all should watch this.
We're not friends. That's why.
A little bit different.
You don't text.
I'm shocked we didn't bring it up on here too as well. So
no. I guess because we just watched it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What's it called?
Straw was the Taraji
Tiana
Taylor, which I think she got Best Supporting Actress. Yeah, she won Best Supporting Actress. It was, and I enjoyed it. Tiana Taylor won Best Supporting Actress. I don't know if it's an Emmy or one of the other awards for One Battle After Another, but I thought she also did great in Straw personally. So
we just watched it. It. I saw. I mean, I've been hearing a lot of the discourse since the movie came out about One Battle After Another, and a lot of Black content creators were talking about how it's her performance was not the best representation of how Black women should be perceived. I was like, I just wasn't. I didn't hear anybody that I knew that was like that shit was great. I heard a lot of white liberals like, this was great about the revolution. And I was like, okay, I don't think y'all know what that means, but I just wasn't moved by it. And then I saw this one clip of this one content creator who was like making fun of it. And I was like, I gotta watch this movie. So I go on so I do believe the Perfidia Beverly Hills character was I think it's an idea of Black liberation written by a white man. Because I couldn't tell you one liberatory tenet Perfidia Beverly Hills stood for, besides fuck the system, kill whitey, except for this man and that man actually, and we gonna blow it up, and we gonna fuck while it's going on. And I think and I'm like, okay, but what is your core belief system? Like, what do you believe, Perfidia? Like, what do you want to liberate? Like she brought up like one time, like, oh, we're gonna blow up your offices, Congressman John, because you voted against the abortion bill. And it's like that's not how and again, but if you're Paul Thomas Anderson, who was a great director, like who's married to Maya Rudolph, dare I say it, I think there's a lot of like race play. That's like a movie kind of born out to race play over 2.5 hours.
Yeah, and his casting in the past has not really included Black people like that. So I don't think it was, rooted in. I didn't take it as. That's why at first I was like, "What is this movie doing? This revolutionary like?" And it felt weird. Like I was like, "Okay, kind of like okay," but then I was like, "It's a little bit weird." I liked the look. I liked the movie, but it didn't really. You're right. It didn't really have that. Like it wasn't like a true revolutionary movie. I thought it was.
To your point, like what happened at the end? Like even Leonardo DiCaprio's character didn't save his daughter. Like he didn't even do what he was supposed to. The whole point, this whole movie, he's going to track down Willow, and then she saves herself. She shoots old boy. I'm sorry, spoilers if you haven't seen one bell after another, which I'm sure most people have. She shoots old boy who's chasing her in the blue car. And she's like, Green Acres, Beverly Hills, and blah, blah, blah. Like the code name. He's like, what? Like, he's just this stoner, bumbling fool, this ex-revolutionary, and his daughter who's been training and prepared and understands it. So, like, I just don't get what the whole thing is about.
I took it as a work of fiction, but I did enjoy it. And, I think, like I said, star-studded cast. Different story. But yeah, I wouldn't consider it like, rooted in the Black liberation for real.
No, I was like, what is this movie about?
And also, like I ended up hating Tiana's character because sell out. But
I was like, what is this? Right, this pussy don't pop for you. Okay, what?
And then,
a white man wrote this. A white man wrote this. This pussy don't pop for you. Who talks like this?
Yeah, kind of a monsters ball, a little bit of a monster.
Kind of a monsters ball, and that was the critique that Black women win to be hoes and Black men win to be villains. That's the old thing. Anyway, so just a little bit of Friday cultural talk about because the news came out yesterday, or was yesterday? The day for yesterday, right?
Yeah. But you see, they also had like those, those secret white supremacist groups too in there, and
the Christmas adventurers clubs. And at the end of the day, look, Lockjaw, who looks just like Greg Bovino, at the end of the day, he was disposable to get played by Sean Penn. He was disposable too, right? So that exactly. That to me was the biggest allegory that like these pathetic, small dick, insecure, unfuckable losers when they're trying to cozy up to the 1%, because I think Lockjaw wasn't the 1%. Those guys in the Christmas Adventures Club were the 1%, right? The political leaders that wear the Patagonia vest, they have the soft leather shoes, and he's the army grunt, right? And he was trying his best. Yes, sir. No, sir. And look, you're disposable too. So
and sell out your own daughters, which we've talked about as well. So
right, treating Black women or women in general as things instead of people. So
anyway,
all right. So all right, but back onto while people are here, the political stuff. So over this past week, we were introduced to a new person in the ICE matrices of fuckery, and his name, and he's a young fella. His name is Liam Ramos, and Liam Ramos was ostensibly kidnapped by our armed and masked Minutemen of the Gestapo. And here's a clip of it, just if you folks aren't familiar with it. But here he is, and people are rallying against it. I didn't mean for I didn't know I had music going. I'm sorry, folks. I didn't realize that. Wait a minute, because I found the clip. Sorry, but anyway, if you look here in the clip, I'll just explain it here. So you have ICE, you have these big, strong, protected children, masked cowards, ICE agents surrounding a child, and they're actually they're using him as bait to lure out
adults.
his mother. They had already kidnapped his father, and they'd already kidnapped him, and they use him. And if you read the text of bond, they're saying, "That's a child. That's a child. What are y'all doing? That's a child." And again, these are we want to protect the children. We want to protect the children, people. And it's quite intimidating, right? They have their car parked kind of catty corner, and this has caused a lot of consternation across the country, right? I talked about it a little bit yesterday. And I got emotional because you see Liam, and you see your own child, right? My daughter's 4. She's 1 year below Liam. My son is 10, 5 years above Liam. So I remember when Ethan was 5. Your daughter just turned 6. So you remember what it was like when she was 5. And these are kids that can, barely, color with inside the lines. They know their numbers, they know their letters, and they're just always happy to see you. Kind of like a puppy. They're always happy to see you, right? And they're innocent.
I just volunteered lunch at my daughter's school and saw her, and she ran up to the door, gave me a hug.
And now he doesn't know where they're down in Texas now, right? Like his mother. Could you imagine not knowing where your daughter is, either of your daughters? And I couldn't imagine not knowing where either of my children are. And this is what we're told as law enforcement.
And these are people who they're first off, they're humans, they're people, regardless of status. I don't give a shit. But they don't treat people with care, meaning they don't log them properly, they don't track them properly, they do not house them properly, they do not feed them properly, they do not physically treat them properly. They commit violence, they kill people in custody, they deny them of their human rights, they deny them of their medicine, they deny them to access to healthcare, they deny them to
they stopped paying for $74,000
to showers. They deny them access to bathrooms. They do not have adequate space in these places. So we can start there, regardless of status, right? And then but here's the thing: they came in through a legal entry point, were granted asylum, they were in process. So what they're calling a criminal illegal alien. And they said abandoned by his father, a criminal illegal alien who fled from our officers. Like, our officers ensured the child was safe. When?
Well, yeah, I'm going to play that clip of our favorite vice president. But it's really heartbreaking because the reason, to your point of all what you just said, right? That they're not getting medical treatment. They're not getting access to clean showers and clean water. The reason why is because these are concentration camps, and
right. That's what they are. Yeah.
We don't want to go there. I'm not saying we. I'm saying the collective America, because America doesn't know its own history, and 2 is cowardly in nature. Especially white America. White America is really difficult to look itself in the mirror because that's how it's able to say that it's white and this is a good place. Because if you knew this again, Fort Snelling, where these people are being held before they're deported to places or trafficked to places like Texas, was the largest concentration camp in the Northeast. But when the indigenous were there, the Lakota. So we have to understand that these people are in concentration camps, and all these masked men, they're only a few more chuckles away from being able to allow a death camp, right? Yeah. We forget that the reason these things are out of sight. I remind people all the time, the concentration camps and the death camps in Germany weren't in Germany; they were in Poland, right? They were not in. They were not in Germany. So the Germans were able to feel like, well, that's not happening here. I don't see it. And there was a video of a granddaughter of a German who lived during that time. She said when she was a little girl, her grandpa was still alive. And she asked him, like, the questions that we are all going to have to deal with our grandchildren when they're going to ask us, why didn't you stop this? And she asked her grandfather that, and she said, this is all going to be us in about 50 years if we make it that long as a species. And he was like, well, Hitler said he was going to, lower our costs. He was going to lower the price of eggs and bread. Sounds familiar? Like he said he's going to bring back law enforcement. He said that there was a time where we were done wrong, and we're going to basically go back again to make it great. All the things, and we didn't believe it. We didn't believe that it was as violent as they said.
Well,
and
it
then
started,
and then she said, and then when it got to the point where it was at our doorstep and it was undeniable, our silence was the only thing that kept me alive to be able to tell you the story now. But what did that cost? It cost 11.5 million lives, 6 million of those being Jewish people. Don't forget they killed Roma, they killed Africans, they killed LGBTQ people, they killed communists, they killed reporters, they killed journalists. So it didn't
start with all those groups. It started with one group. I think it started with immigrants, and started with
it started with the trans community. Magnus Hirschfeld had the first LGBTQ clinic in Germany in the 1920s, and this is where we learned about the transness. And when you see that famous picture of Germans walking out of that building and they're burning the books, that's Magnus Hirschfeld's library, because they said queerness was degenerate and needs to go away. So when they say history doesn't repeat but it rhymes, and if we don't know that, we start to say, well, I hate trans because it's a new thing. You were saying the same thing the Nazis said, brother at the barbershop, sister at the hair salon, someone at the Super G Mart. We are repeating the propaganda given to us from the Nazi regime, which was, again, formed in the shape of the Confederacy and Jim Crow South. So I just want us to remember that is exactly how all this stuff happens.
So you started as we're going after the worst. We're going after, and they still say that. Like they'll get on TV and say we're going after the criminals, the worst of the worst.
Oh yeah.
Meanwhile on Twitter, they're calling this person a criminal, illegal alien who is in the process of doing things the right way, who has been granted asylum and who is in some sort of process, So it keeps on moving, and it's like, that people, the parents, their fault that they put their kid through this. And it's like,
well, let's see
what people like. Why are we even listening to any people that are justifying this?
For real. Well, let's see what our number 2 in command says about all this.
About this 5-year-old kid. I actually saw this terrible story while I was coming to Minneapolis. We just left Toledo, Ohio this morning for an economic messaging event. And I see this story, and I'm a father of a 5-year-old, actually, a 5-year-old little boy. And I think to myself, oh my God, this is terrible. How did we arrest a 5-year-old? Well, I do a little bit more follow-up research. And what I find is that the 5-year-old was not arrested, that his dad was an illegal alien. And then when they went to arrest his illegal alien father, the father ran. So the story is that ICE detained a 5-year-old. Well, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to let a 5-year-old child freeze to death?
JD Vance can go fuck himself, and he has the most punchable fucking face on this side of God's green earth. I can't stand him. I can't, and I don't give a fuck. He's a fucking bitch. He's a coward. He's a weak man, and he's trying to run interference for something we all saw. That if that was his brown kid, because don't forget, y'all, JD Vance, and guess what? The far right does not forget either. That he got brown kids, and he's got a third one coming. So if that was his 5-year-old, that he wouldn't be saying, well, his father was an illegal alien. And a lot of time on this show, we like to quote the famous Amos Smith, Dr. Amos Smith quote. They call the indigenous savages to treat them savagely. They treat the African, they call him a criminal, to treat him criminally. So when they say that these people are illegal aliens, it's because their ancestors are the illegal aliens, and they cannot deal with that. No one is, and it sounds cliche, but no one is illegal on stolen land. And I'm just sick of this shit, man.
Yeah, and he's actually got 3 kids, and
3 already. So it's 4th.
Yeah, so they have his 4th.
Okay.
He's got Ewan, Vivek.
Vivek
is the 5-year-old.
Can't spin that one.
And Mirabelle. So
Maybe
Yeah,
Bell.
I'm guarantee you this one's going to be unambiguous. This name, and he's probably praying that this baby comes out the right shade of white.
Please.
But
she's just olive skinned.
Yeah, Scott Jennings has a more punchable face, but I, definitely.
I would rather punch. I can do this.
Yeah, no. Well, if he didn't run, let's say let me entertain their narrative.
More likely is that Trump dies.
Let me. So he ran, or he didn't run. Then what? This man didn't run. This man I'm talking about the father. He said
not run for office.
Left his kid. Gotcha. So let's just run with that narrative.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so he didn't run. Okay, sure. Then what? Well, it would look the exact same picture, exact same outcome, right? So now what? You didn't arrest him. What? Because you didn't. And they're very careful with their words. Of course he wasn't arrested. Was he booked and charged with a crime? No. Was he detained and put in the back of a car and toted off somewhere? Yes. Right. And they call him a criminal illegal alien. Well, so now, just to be clear, that if he's a criminal illegal alien, that means that every single person who's going through a process that was granted asylum, that still has not been required to leave, you are now a criminal illegal alien, according to the federal government. Right. So that line has continued to move, and then soon it will be naturalized citizens, criminal, illegal aliens. They're now criminal because they said something wrong, right? Or because they did something wrong, or because they're gay, or because whatever. And so you're just going to continue to see that line to move the more that we allow.
Yeah, no. And I think you're right. A lot of white, and this is why we're trying to tell people for hundreds of years, a lot of white people realizing like you're a few steps off being a nigga too. In fact, a lot of y'all are niggas. You don't realize you niggas, right? And what I mean by that is that they gave you that, and I talk about a lot of time on the show, that you're the psychological wage of whiteness, that you are not that. As long as you play by the rules, as long as you forget, as long as you exchange your culture for this this burden of the white man's burden, the idea that you're white, you will be fine. But if you step out of line, like a Valaluza from Michigan, I talked about, who went down in the Montgomery bus boycotts to help out, or Birmingham, Alabama, to go help out, or a Renee Good, and you start to stand with the blacks and the browns, your life too is forfeit. You are now a nigga just right with them. It is the nigger lover theory. So it's very important that we realize there's more of us than there are of them. And these people who are now, as you've read the book, I think you told me that, but Tim Snyder's book on tyranny, where he says, beware the paramilitary. That is what ICE is. And I'm so fucking sick of Democrats saying that who's this here?
It's Elian Gonzalez.
I say, I remember that.
This is like the original, right. One of the OG
during Bill Clinton
images. I mean, this is during Bill Clinton. This was happening, and this is probably one of the earlier things that I can remember. But yep. This father, I believe it's his father, is holding his son.
Mm-hmm.
So this is what happens when you don't abandon. You see the pointed a gun in his face, in the kid's face. You see the kids. You see his face. Right. And so I just want to make it clear that, like, first off, we are right now, we're debating legality, and I'm kind of done with that. Like,
right.
Like, why are we debating legality in a country that it's not following any kind of laws, that no longer follows the laws?
That's right.
No longer actually criminalizes criminals, that no longer keeps them locked up. They actually get pardoned. It's pay to play. So if in terms of morality, this is way beyond. I don't give a shit if you're illegal. This is crazy. Well, I don't give a shit if you're illegal or you're in a process. It doesn't matter. This is crazy. And to anyone who thinks that this is okay, which is a majority of Republicans, MAGA, white Americans, that I can tell.
It's still white Americans too. Like don't try to let liberals, because every time I'm having a discussion online, it's like, well, I think the immigration laws of this country need to be up. you have to get, why do you care? This was not an important thing to you at all. It does not materially change how your life is impacted. You live in 90% of white people live in all white areas, go to all white schools with white jobs. The idea that even you're like, I think these laws need to be, this is what Martin Luther King warned about the white moderate. I care, I believe in your cause, but I do not believe in your modes of direct action. This is, what are you talking? Why do you care? You're not from here. You say go back to your country. Y'all should be the first ones packing your damn bags to leave.
Yeah, and that wasn't his dad in the picture. I wanted to get that clear because
either way,
there's a fisherman who rescued him. It's somebody trying to protect him. It doesn't matter who it is. Like,
right?
But so no, it's
you said something earlier. You said something earlier that is, and this is, I get so fucking. I said it earlier before you pull that picture up. I'm getting so mad at Democrats saying, "Oh, law enforcement." I agree with law enforcement. ICE is not law enforcement. We have to. They're not cops. If they're cops, then go be fucking cops. You're not cops. You're not cops. You are kidded. And this is the problem with, as again, we talk about Martin Luther King, after Martin Luther King's birthday, the three biggest evils, what do you say? Materialism, racism, and militarism. And you can't take down one without the other two. And for years, for decades, we've been militarizing the police. Think about, if y'all watch some old shows like Happy Days or Leave It to Beaver, what did the police officers look like? Kind of bumbling. They kind of got the polyester uniform. They got the milkman hat, right? What does a police officer look like today? Like a Call of Duty, kitted out, coming off a fucking helicopter, 2 long rifles, 2 swords, like fucking Deadpool. Like, that's what a police officer looks like now. So as we talk about, they are not law enforcement. They are an outgrowth of the war on terror and the Department of Homeland Security, again, which was created post 9/11, which sounds very Nazi-esque. Don't forget that, because before we had ICE, we had the Immigration and Naturalized Services, which is what most people had. And these were administrative jobs. The same way you wouldn't allow a tax adjuster that works for the IRS to shoot you 3 times in the face, or the secretary of the Department of Education to murder you. Why would you let someone from the Department of Homeland Security, who are not law enforcement? I got to keep saying that, because we have now capitulated our minds. We have disarmed ourselves mentally to, anytime we hear law enforcement, we kind of do the psychological thing like, well, I guess they can do it because they're law enforcement. They are not law enforcement.
Yeah.
And then one final piece, I'm sorry, wrong. This is why on their vest it does not say ICE anymore. It used to say ICE. The public outcry against ICE was so bad they had to say, could say police on it, and then ICE in small letters under it. That's why.
Yeah. I've trained help desk engineers longer than ICE has been trained. And to the Democrats, funding, they need cameras. What are cameras like? It's on, like Renee Good was shot on camera from like 4 different angles, 5 different angles. The man was holding his own camera phone as he shot her. While he shot her, it was literally like, straight in front of him. So, what do cameras do? There's no accountability. If you're going to clean up a crime scene and drive off and not allow an investigation, then what good is a camera? Like, do you have access to those cameras, Hakeem Jeffries? Do you have access to those cameras, Cory Booker?
Right.
Like, who's watching the cameras?
And
who's holding them accountable to those cameras?
The faultiness of having those cameras on is one that has plagued policing since the introduction of body cameras. 2, to your point, is a very big problem in body cameras, is that the repository is held by the police, who does internal investigations just like the IDF. And guess what? They always find out their officers did nothing wrong, or the camera was on, or it's too blurry. And the pixelation and the bad graphics of the camera allow for there to be more plausible deniability to say that those people were righteous in what they did. Last thing, sometimes when the camera is on them, and they get to going, kind of like Jonathan Ross's camera, it starts to shake a little bit like this. It adds to the jury to say, look how afraid he was. Look, even if the person was running away, if the camera shakes just a little bit, it adds, just like when we're talking about cinematography and centers, it adds to the cinematography to people saying, well, oh my God, look at the camera is shaking. I would be scared too. He was justified in murdering and choking or whoever else may be. That is why that is not good enough.
Yeah, exactly. Cameras aren't a solution. They might, and again, they can hold accountability, but who's watching them? How do you? And then but the thing is, when you put these kind of controls in place, and for criminal, these are people who operate outside the law, ICE agents.
Yep.
They find ways around it. You find ways to work around it, right? Whether it's covering your camera, whether it's writing a note down. Same thing with the Pete Hegseth and Signal chats, right? Right. They were supposed to be communicating on secure communications approved by the government. They didn't want it tracked, so what did they do? They moved to Signal. Right now that they're caught up in Signal, who knows what they're using, right? So it's like it doesn't really matter if you're operating, your whole agency and the people around it are operating illegally, and that's the culture of your entire organization. That's not going to change, and they work for us. That's our taxpayer money. So Democrats that are these 7 who voted to continue funding,
we'll get to that. Why? Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. But also with that, and as I say, they're not law enforcement. Even if they were law enforcement. I'm going to say this again, folks. Law enforcement is only as legitimate as the laws that they follow, right? You can't say we're law enforcement and then we break the laws to quote unquote enforce the law. That it immediately loses its legitimacy in the minds and the hearts of the public, of the masses. And that's this dissonance that we're seeing. And we need to embrace that, because as much as Democrats, and again, I'm going to get to in a second here about how I got into it earlier this morning with Democrats in our local SEC group about this, but law enforcement has to also follow the laws they're enforcing. Does that make sense? I can't go if I'm a cop, and this is in a I would never be a cop because ACAB, but if I was a cop, I can't burn down the house someone's in and murder everybody because they murdered somebody. That doesn't, you can't do, but we're allowing that because we're hearing JD Vance, Donald Trump, your favorite Fox News host, Joe Rogan, these people saying, well, they're law enforcement, they're Democrat, Hakeem Jeffries, they're law enforcement, Alyssa Slotkin, they're law enforcement.
Absolute immunity. Then when is it not absolute immunity?
They are not law enforcement, and then you cannot be law enforcement and then break the law. So with that being said, here's another clip of our favorite eye-lined Little Smokey is JD Vance Pants Vance.
And just
Vice President Vance, a local school district here is alleging ICE agents detained a 5-year-old after preschool on Tuesday. We've also seen multiple American citizens detained by ICE or harassed by ICE in the last 6 weeks. Are you proud of how your administration is conducting this immigration crackdown here in Minnesota right now?
Well, I'm proud of the fact that we're standing behind law enforcement, and I'm proud of the fact that we're enforcing the country's laws. But, you asked a question about this 5-year-old kid. I actually saw this terrible story while I was coming to Minneapolis. What are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to let a 5-year-old child freeze to death? Are they not completely given immunity from ever being the subject of law enforcement? That doesn't make any sense. No one thinks that makes any sense. Now, there are so many of these cases like that where if you just understand the context, there have been a number of situations that I've looked into personally where I say, wait a second, we don't want ICE arresting American citizens. They're supposed to be enforcing the immigration laws against illegal aliens. So then I look into it and I find out that the American citizen who was arrested took a swing at an ICE officer. You can't have that happen. And of course they have to defend themselves. And of course they have the right to detain somebody who assaults a law enforcement officer. Now, this is my point. Do we want these things to happen? Do we want these arrests to be so chaotic? No, we don't. These guys want it least of all. But if we had a little cooperation from local and from local and state officials, I think the chaos would go way down in this community.
President.
Obama, some people call the deporter in chief, and every president has managed to deport millions of people without, so the idea that this is to enforce immigration law, this is not that. We can keep pretending, this is to actually terrorize, intimidate. There's a reason why they're in Minnesota. There's a reason why they're going into cities with blue mayors, Democratic mayors. There's a reason why they're going after, they're not in Texas. Like, why aren't they in Texas? Like,
why aren't they starting in the prisons? If that's where all the bad, quote unquote, monstrous, murderous, because they're only talking about brown people. They're not talking about Elon Musk, getting here illegally. If we just take them, to your point, Rom, for face value, why aren't you starting in the prisons and the jails?
Yeah. Yeah.
I got one more clip of our favorite. This is the back and forth I was telling you about earlier, and this just shows you how much they will lie to us about how up and up they are.
I didn't say, and I don't think any other official within the Trump administration said that officers who engaged in wrongdoing would enjoy immunity. That's absurd. What I did say is that when federal law enforcement officers violate the law, that is typically something that federal officials would look into. The precedent here is very simple. You have a federal law enforcement official engaging in federal law enforcement action. That's a federal issue. That guy is protected by absolute immunity. He was doing his job.
To all ICE officers, you have federal immunity in the conduct of your duties.
Which is a lie. Folks gotta wake
So
up.
we had an episode about 2 weeks ago, and the title of the episode was "The Rule of Law is Dead." So the rule of law is dead. That we did not break the law. We, the American people, the citizens, the ones who did break the law, they would be expected to find justice. The person who stabbed Irina Zaruski, probably pronounced her name wrong. I'm sorry. But
you got it right.
I always pronounce it. Yeah. So, but the thing, like, why are people protesting her? Because they know who the killer is, and he will get justice that he does. Like, she will get justice like he deserves.
He will get consequences for his actions.
And yes, and so so there's tons of examples like that, right? What we as people look to as is justice. Like, we feel, if we believe in the justice system, that if we are wrong, if we are harmed, that we will get justice. If the federal government and these federal law enforcement agencies, this one's like, no, do not operate with any kind of laws or rules, then it's done. Which is, it's not just ICE. It's the fact that the Jack Smith testimony yesterday. I mean, the man Trump literally intended to overturn the election. He actually talked to people with an intent. He did not intend to try to find fraud. He intended to turn over the election. He incited a insurrection. He incited a riot of the U.S. Capitol building. We've never seen anything like that in my lifetime.
Not ever.
Where they were busting in, and then they were arrested. There was justice was served, and on day one, the president pulled them all out of prison, and they went on to threaten police officers. They went on to get killed themselves. They went on to rape. They went on to steal. They went on to do other criminal shit.
Sexual assault against children.
They went on to join ICE.
So
the idea that there's no rule of law, like, I don't care. You might, you can still, whoever has the most power, but the idea that people are going to be following laws and should be following laws, that's kind of gone. I mean, if I see somebody stealing something from a big box store, I ain't got shit to do. I don't got shit to do with that. Like, they might, see them stealing Pampers. That's what's coming. Because how can you sit here and say that petty theft at the store is worse than stealing millions of dollars from American citizens? There's a man in the presidency that is literally taking this money from Venezuela oil, and we have no idea where it's going. This is a man who's pocketing money through
they put in an offshore bank,
cryptocurrency, to get pardons for his friends. These pardons are paid. Those are paid pardons. These are all paid. Whether this is directly, like, they're giving crypto to him, but whether it's a pay to play, you get a contract because you sponsored by my new bunker, my new ballroom. All of that shit's illegal. Like, all of it is illegal. So you can't sit here and tell me that I'm supposed to get, mad at Sally for stealing some diapers for her and some or hell, she could be. I don't give a shit what she's stealing. She could be stealing a TV. Like it doesn't equate. But you can sit here and demonize the person that's stealing a TV way more than the person that's actually stealing millions of dollars from the American people in front of our face. So like, I don't know who. Like, I don't even know who. I guess at this point, like, I don't even think. I guess we're just talking to like liberals, because I don't know who doesn't like this compute. I know who it doesn't compute for, who doesn't want to hear this, who can do all kinds of mental gymnastics to justify every single thing that happens as it happens real time. They can contort themselves into every single argument. But like for everyone else, and I know it's only like what 5% of the people that change the world. But like, I mean, how do people just sit back and watch and just do nothing and just be like these people that just kind of like peruse the world and just wait for everything to happen around them? It's crazy to me that you can watch all these things happen and just be like, well, I don't do politics, and I kind of like to stay in the middle, and I vote, but like I'm not really upset at any of it. Like what?
Yeah, no, salient points, man. I think I think we are talking to liberals. To be honest, I think a lot of time, like the right wingers, the MAGA folks, they're gone. They're gone, and if they do wake up, that'll be on their own accord. Because the idea that we didn't warn them about this, 100 years ago is insane, and that's also does a disservice to our ancestors that well documented and laid the groundwork. It's just you didn't care, and that's for you to sit with, not for us. And that's real. Like, we gotta be like, look, you didn't care enough when we told you about this. And I'll just take it back to Rodney King, that this over militarization of the police will turn into this on you all, that it'll be wielded against you. That after 2001 in the Patriot Act, and you say, okay, for safety, take away some of our civil liberties and some of our privacy protections, will be wielded against you in the surveillance state, is what our Muslim brothers and sisters told us. During 2020, we said this policing organization is a lawless because it can murder you and then get off scot-free because it is based on racial hierarchy versus a democratic organization of power of the people, a dictatorship of the masses, if you will, that now is washing up on white America. So I really do hope people are waking up, but we have to have people who are on our ostensible side to stop it with again, the Martin Luther King, white moderate. Like, I agree with your ends. I just don't agree with what you're saying. I don't agree with. Can you be kind? You said a curse word. Could you not say defund the police? Could you not say defund ICE? And like I warned y'all on this show, actually, during the campus riots of 2025, right? Yeah, no, 2024. We were recording. No, excuse me. I wasn't even here. It didn't exist yet. But it was. I remember it was during the campus encampments on college campuses in 2024. And I remember I had a post and I said, all of y'all are saying that this is bad and the police can crack the skulls of these students, knock their teeth out. Just wait until one day when your civil rights are going to be infringed. And who will be there to stop you? The police. The police will be there to stop you. All y'all be like, don't say that. We need them. You can't tell me the last time the police helped you.
Yeah, I will say, I thought the defund the police, that slogan was the worst slogan, and still I believe that
it's the worst. It's the worst slogan because we made it the worst slogan.
Yeah,
it's not a bad slogan. It's a bad slogan if you take the perspective of people who already think it's who already think it's bad to get rid of it. That's why it's bad.
So yes, and to your point, every time that a Democrat who's in leadership or who's elected and they say, well, we can't abolish ICE, they're basically giving the idea that because I do think about like abolish ICE, to me is a perfect slogan, because I don't like the police is hard to, in my opinion, it's harder to find. There's so many.
Well, that's why it's hard, because you say it's hard.
It's
That's
yeah, because you say
not
defund the
because it's
police.
not
You say
just.
defund the police. Because anyone can say defund the police. If you say if your police department is doing some of the right things and actually doing community policing, and somebody here's defund the police, so it's like, well, we need the police. I'm not. So I think
But that's
it's a
not
hard
what policing
slogan.
is for.
It's hard to defend. It's hard to.
But we can do hard
defund
things,
the police,
which is why we are where we are.
We can, but look, out of the gate, if you come out of the gate, so abolish ICE is actually an easy one. And when Democrats say that, well, you can't abolish ICE, then
because of the defund the police. That's the reason you can't say abolish ICE is because you couldn't say defund the police. Now but they're all intertwined.
But they're two different things. You can literally just say, I understand what you're saying. Trust me, I do. But I like it.
But we have to have the wherewithal and the strength of our convictions that when we're talking about this to say the reason when these Democrats, we're going to get to now move on to that. These Democrats cannot say that is because they could not say this system, which was built on slave patrol, that honestly only solves 2% of the crimes, that actually commits violence, that actually does property damage, that actually does lie. Because once one police officer lies, and not that one police officer, a lot of them lie, then the entire thing is defunct. And once you're over, and once you're talking about the reason you don't have things like healthcare, you don't have things like education, you don't have things like potable water, because your city is overblowing the budget of police, and you deserve your own tax dollars to go back into your healthcare, your education, to your broadband.
Yeah, to me, it's like a marketing role. You have to think who you're marketing to, right? Like these are people, most Americans, like you said, they read at a 6th grade level. The people who do not understand, like they see that first thing they see, defund the police. All right, and if you got to go into explain what's under the hood of what that means, into like where that money should be going, where it should be allocated to, you've already lost it. That's my opinion.
That's also silly though, because the reason why it's silly is because it has to be because we're fucking MAGA and we're right wing is all bumper sticker politics, right? Make America great again. What does that mean, right? They just say make America great again. So yeah, there's always a level of like it's got to be a bumper sticker, and then you have to ask the next question. We choose to give up the game because it's too difficult, and also because a lot of times we agree with that shit. We're like, actually, I do think the police need to exist, even though you can't point to a fucking time when the police have helped you. Beyond like, oh, Mr. Officer, I blew a flat tire, and they don't need guns for that shit. And that's what I'm saying is like we're at a point where, like I promised y'all, that whenever your civil rights are going to be infringed. In fact, I just saw a video of St. Paul, Minneapolis. They were having a meeting last night with the chief of police, the one who's under investigation for conspiring with ICE before Renee Good's murder in St. Paul, not in Minneapolis, in the Twin Cities, St. Paul. And there was this Latina woman, and she was reading the constitutional statutes to this chief of police of what they're supposed to do to protect the people. And what did he say? We are not going to interfere with law enforcement. So he's reinforcing his own fecklessness. Mm-hmm. And like I said, at the end of the day, they are going to be there to stop you. When they are shooting you in the face, robbing your children of you, and you're up here, not you, the metaphorical you.
I know that.
The you up here saying, like, we need this shit. It's like, okay, we got to do hard things. And like, and if you're so caught up on my dad's a cop, my brother's a cop, look, when your shit is taken away, you can have no one else to blame but yourself. Now, one last clip here. This is really good. I thought this was good. This was good.
Liam Ramos, a preschooler, and his father were taken into custody while in their driveway. The superintendent of the school district in Columbia Heights, a Minneapolis suburb, said at a press conference on Wednesday. An agent had taken Liam out of the car, led the boy to his front door, and directed him to knock on the door, asking to be let in, quotes, in order to see if anyone else was home, essentially using a 5-year-old as bait. So that is Donald Trump's ICE officers operating in a suburb of Minneapolis this week. I think you will be able to work out where the next thing that I'm going to read to you comes from, but I am not going to tell you until I have finished. Terrible things are happening outside. At any time of night and day, poor, helpless people are being dragged out of their homes. They're allowed to take only a knapsack and a little cash with them, and even then they're robbed of these possessions on the way. Children come home from school to find that their parents have disappeared. Women return from shopping to find their houses sealed, their families gone. And that is from The Diary of a Young Girl by Anne Frank. If you can tell me the difference between those two descriptions, one happening in the United States this week and one happening in Amsterdam during the Holocaust, then you are a wiser person than me.
This is why I will not accept the argument. Like we are so fucking delusional in this country. We are so indoctrinated to believe in this system that is actively out to murder us. So, and then the last point we want to get on is and then I'll let you go. But the last point we get on is that yesterday 7 Democrats joined the Republicans to give ICE even more funding, including North Carolina's own Don Davis. But I'm sorry, get your point.
Under the hood, I agree with everything you're saying. My point is, and I brought it up so we could debate it, but like,
yeah.
Defund the police is out of the gate is a rough. I would love to see the Venn diagram of people who agree with abolish ICE and do not agree with defund the police. I believe that circle that overlap is small, much smaller than actually overlaps. But go ahead. Mm-hmm.
And the point of a leader is not to say things that are popular. It's the point is to say things that are important and make those things popular.
I agree.
Right?
I just think there's a better look. I just think there's a better way to look.
But you don't think so, because if you did, you would say it. You would say what it is. You don't even know what it is. And then the one thing that people were saying, look, this shit's got to go because it's kneeling on our necks. It's shooting us in the back.
It's also part of. Yeah, but part of it is like also like the slogan along with the message, right? Like, and I think that when the Republicans come out with their slogan and they have a message and it comes from every single angle and everyone's adopting it, Democrats and liberals and the left do not do that, unfortunately. So like there is a slogan, the messaging is sloppy. The Democratic leadership and their messaging with abolish ICE or why we should be doing it. And that's my point is like, I think that's a very easy slogan to defend, given what we're seeing. I think it's an extremely easy slogan to defend. But they're waffling it. There's no concert. Nothing's in concert. Nothing's, there's the governors aren't standing side by side. You got Tim Walz in a room by himself. You got Frey doing his own thing. They're not even together. The police, sometimes they're together. Like it's just a bunch of mess, and it's everyone out for themselves right now, right?
It's always been a bunch of mess.
Like lost. People have lost faith in Democrats. I think that there was a lot of faith put into Democrats, way too much, right?
Yes.
I think it's becoming more clear, even for myself, it's becoming more clear of like what the Democrats are actually their purposes, right? And so I think that is what's. I think that's, I would call it a good thing. Because unfortunately it's not. I would much rather have Democrats being the opposition, standing 10 toes down, fighting this shit. But unfortunately, like that's not the case. That's not what they were meant to do. That's not what these people elected were built for. They're not what they're getting. That's not what they're getting paid for by their sponsors and their donors. So it's not going to happen that way. And that's unfortunate because we keep conceding ground as morally good people. We're conceding ground as we don't have progressives, and at this point, you're right. There is no time. It's just continues to get worse, and these people that are allowing these things to get funded and they're fumbling the message. They are allowing us to get deeper and deeper in this hole. And one day, in a year from now, 2 years from now, we're going to look back and we're going to say,
we should have defunded the police. Is what they're going to say. We should have did that. Now look, now we're on the wall. And it's that famous James Franco meme where he's got the noose around his neck and he's looking at the other guy like, it's your first time, because we've been warning about this. But 7 Democrats in Congress yesterday voted to join with the Republicans to give ICE more funding with no sort of guardrails or to rein them in, no body cams, no taking the masks off, no having a registry of their names, no, all the things that we've talked about they need into guardrails, at least to make us 1% more safe. And one of those people is Don Davis. And I do want to tell this story because it just happened to me this morning. So in our North Carolina, I'm part of the North Carolina Democratic Party SEC group, and there was a post in there that said, "What do y'all think about Don Davis voting along with the Republicans?" And this is a group of kind of the leadership, the state executive committee, people across the state. Everybody is in this Facebook group, and of course, I comment with actually with Ruha Benjamin's famous. My comment was like literally a video of like, well, I think that. I said, this is my thought. I'll play a few seconds of this. This is my thought.
Black faces in high places are not going to save us. Just look at the black proponents of Cop City in Atlanta's leadership class. Black faces in high places are not going to save us. Just look at the black woman's hand, ambassador at the UN, voting against a ceasefire in Gaza.
So
that is
and if you guys haven't seen that video, that's Ruha Benjamin giving the commencement address at Spelman commencement about a couple of years ago. Fantastic book. She wrote the book Viral Justice and a few other books. Anyway, so that was my response to this. What do y'all think about Don Davis? Don Davis is a guy who has actively stood against any sort of what you want to call liberal Democrat. He votes with the Republicans. He's a black guy out of Eastern North Carolina. He actually gets protested a lot for not doing town halls. And so then my comment to this guy was like, he's actually the leader of the Interfaith Caucus inside the DNC. He's a very, very good guy. And he said, well, I've known Don for a while, and Don's a good guy, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, that's kind of the problem within itself, right? Like this whole aspect of like, I personally know him, he's good. The politics of celebrity, the politics of likability, like it's the whole like, Bill Clinton plays the saxophone in Arsenio Hall, therefore he's down with black people. Versus, what is your policies when you were governor of Arkansas that helped black people, right?
Yeah,
what are your? Go ahead.
I was just saying, remember that radio host that was in Monroe, and he said he was going to do shooting practice on immigrants, right? And somebody said, "Well, I've known him so long; he was a good guy.
He's a nice guy. We went to college together." But it's even more so for the marginalized person, right? He's a black man, and he always votes to send money to Israel. He always votes to side with the GOP, and so I said in there, I said, but he's standing with this organization that is the modern day slave catchers. And I don't really give a shit if he's nice or not. This is someone who is actively, harming communities. I said, and by that stance, that means Liam Ramos deserved it. That means Renee Good deserved it. That means Keith Porter deserved it. That means the countless other people who have been brutalized that we've seen on camera all deserved it. And he responds back with like, well, okay, the first thing is, law enforcement needs to exist, right? There you go. Right? We talk about it again. He's legitimizing it, calling it law enforcement. Law enforcement, we can't call these extra judicial things that exist like Nazis and SS. I said, well, cool. This is a mass paramilitary that reports into the executive himself, that is unaccountable and not responsible for what they do. They are raping women. They are kidnapping and trafficking children, and they are murdering people in the streets. Don Davis just voted to give them more money. While people out here, and I use the example of Gaza, people are crying themselves to sleep, wishing, feeling powerless, feeling like wishing that they could do something. You're in power, and you're using your power to give more money to Israel or give more money to the to ICE. Both of them start with the letter I. That's the problem. Like us, the average voter person, I wish I could do something. The motherfucker who's in power, just because he's a nice guy and you like him, is choosing to take his power and to give the Republicans just enough votes to get it over the hump. That's the problem.
So why do you think that he votes? Why do you think he voted for that?
Why do I think he voted for it?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't know again, I'm not trying to sound like a Republican. I don't know what's in his mind and his heart. But I get his track record is that he's been, that's another pushback from this the Interfaith Caucus chair, was that his district is more conservative, and there's 40 to 30% Black people, and there's a mix of Black folks, but we're not a monolith. And I'm like, all that's good and fine. When again, there's a modern day Gestapo slave.
Yes.
You have to have principles. This is why, to your point earlier, people are losing faith in the Democratic Party, because you're looking at electoral wins versus I need to stand up for universal human rights. So that it could be a reason of that, but also, again, I also know that he's on the payroll of a lot of big oil companies, a lot of big corporations, and we talk about fascism as the merging of the state and corporations. So all those things would be my answer.
Yeah, so Don Davis, don't know him. Yeah, I think yesterday was like the first time. I might have seen the name come across, but yesterday was the first time I really came across my radar. So I'm learning about him real time as you're kind of talking about him. And so, well, it's like, why would you, in an unpopular time, kind of like, why would you vote for this, right? And the margins, okay, at this point, I think, regardless of if you don't get into office again, honestly, so what? But I think it's more what people care about the most is being principled. I think people care about being, real, right? Actually connecting with people. So as you said, this guy's not in town halls.
Nope.
Right. He avoids town halls. It sounds like he plays politics, tries to play with the middle, right? He's trying to play in the margins. And to me, in 2026, that's just a weak stance. I don't care where you are. You don't have to be in New York. I think people will connect with people who actually stand for something, that fight for something, that actually connect with people. You got to be in a town hall to actually know what your people like, to work, like what's going on in your district. So it's disappointing, but it's not surprising. I would love to hear it from his mouth directly. I don't know if he's commented on it. We had Carla Cunningham in Charlotte, who not only did she vote with Republicans, but she also doubled down and said some, pretty vile stuff, right? So we know where she stands. We know she's just not even trying to I don't know who she's trying to appeal to. But anyways, I just kind of wanted to take a quick look at this because
why do you think?
I think it's weak. I think it's weak. I think it's the weakest thing as a man, as a human, to not have principles, to not stand for anything, to not actually connect with people as a politician, to not be out there. I don't like it's just, as you said, if this is the Gestapo, the rule of law is gone. So if you can't stand on the side of humanity, if you're not morally a good person, then I can't rock with you.
This is why when people say stuff like, we got to vote our way out of this, and voting is the most radical thing you can do. I want to remind people, well, then how did Black people get the right to vote? How do women get the right to vote? We didn't just vote our way to get the right to vote, right? You have to take radical action. You have to make a principled stance. You have to organize your community. You have to speak loudly. You have to push back. You have to reject the status quo. You don't reinforce and subsidize and underwrite the status quo with more money, with more political cover. And that is what this brother has done. And he's the only Black person that did this. There are two Latinos, of course, Henry Cuellar out of Texas. That's the border town. And he's basically a Republican with the D next to his name. And a few other Dan Golden. He's a piece of shit out of Maine, I think. So again, these are the Democrats that we talk about, a captured opposition, right? They never have enough votes to pass universal health care. They never have enough votes to pass, bodily autonomy or Voting Rights Act. But they always have just enough votes to break off to help the Republicans get their shit over. If the Republicans need 6, you got 6. Republicans need 10, you got 10. That's the bullshit. So I think people are sick of that too, Rom, where they're like, okay, do y'all stand for any goddamn thing?
Yeah.
So
there's a reason. There's got to be some reasons why 33% of the country doesn't vote.
Of voting age, yeah.
And Trump, remember, Trump tapped into a lot of people who didn't vote. That's where a lot of his
hate is a very galvanizing force.
He appealed to hate. Yeah. He appealed to the worst in people, but it's a very easy message.
Very easy. It doesn't take much, right? As I say, when you're on the highway and someone cuts you off, it's easy. You're mad. You're fucking pissed. You're like, what the? Trump's like, right there. Stay right there.
And it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, why would a Democrat, like, you just vote for it, even if it still doesn't, if it still passes, like what, like I would love to have some of these people on. I would love to know where Roy Cooper stands. Like, I want to stop ragging on him. I'm gonna send an invite to the show. He probably won't come, but like, we'll go interview. Maybe we go interview him where he's at. I don't know, but
I'm down with that too.
It's like, it's very hard to.
He ain't gonna talk to the Negroes.
It shouldn't be this hard.
But early, maybe in February, I think we're gonna have on local kind of social media personality, Bull City Anna, because we kind of got into it on your post about Roy Cooper, as you remember, about like what you got a few colorful responses, right?
Yeah, I mean, people like him. North Carolina was a governor. He got some things done.
Sure.
However, he's not been governor for 2 years now. Almost
we're going on 2 years.
I guess a year.
Mm-hmm.
And things have changed a lot in the last year.
Things have changed,
like a lot, right? So I just would like to know. I would just like to. I think I should be able to go in 2026. I think I, as a millennial, should be able to go to a website and kind of know where you stand. I think I, as somebody, and I'm somebody who's very politically active, right? Involved in a lot of things. So for me to not know where this man stands, that's a problem, guys. I don't give a shit. Like, I don't give a shit. Like, I can question that. I'd say that, like, okay, wait a minute. Like, I need to know where he stands, and I don't know.
No, you don't. He was great. He was fantastic, Rom.
Did you live here or not? I didn't. So, a matter of fact, I need to get to know him.
I need to know more.
Right. I didn't know him. I did actually go out and knock on doors, 1,000 to be exact, to get people to vote for Josh Stein, right? And I knew where Josh Stein standed, but like, even still, like, I just don't know who he is.
I didn't know what Josh stood.
And if you don't think it's a problem that somebody like me who doesn't know who Roy Cooper is, then you've got a bigger problem than you think, because you're just basically wanting to win this election on vibes and fucking
a name recognition,
Trump, not being Trump, and name recognition, vibes, name recognition, and not being the Republican who supports, who's up Trump's ass, right? So, okay, I mean, I guess that's enough. I guess it's enough because he's doing pretty well in the polling, but like, and then when he's in, what is he going to say about ICE?
That's a problem. And that's a problem, right?
So, and it does matter, especially as a senator. You're a state senator.
That's
those
right.
National issues.
He's a senator, matter. Not a state senator. He's a senator.
I'm sorry. It's it's U.S. senator. So, hey, I'm just saying. Whoever, if
that's a good
like,
point,
I don't hate the man. I'm not trying to say like,
no.
Who am I going to? What am I do? Tell you to vote for?
I'm gonna vote for him.
No, like,
I'm gonna vote for him. Don't get me wrong, folks.
Oh yeah, and in the primary, like, I don't know, does it matter? But there's no good candidates. But like,
right, I'm gonna vote for Roy Cooper. I mean, come on. But what we're saying, it is very similar to the Kamala Harris, response. Where they're like, well, if it's not her, it's Trump. Look, me and Ron are both part of the 80%. Actually, numbers coming out,
and then some, and we were the minority of the fraction that was actually like out there, putting in blood, sweat, and tears. And not to say that there were other people doing even more than us, but I'm just saying, we're a fraction of that, fraction of the 80%, a fraction of the 50%. So to be saying so I'm just saying, look, I have nothing against Roy Cooper other than like, get your shit together. But I don't know. I actually can't battle you on policy or say something, criticize your policy, because I don't know what you're going to be doing.
And we looked at the website of his Republican competitor, right, Michael Watley, and I'm sure I don't know if he did or not.
He doesn't have a good website either.
No, he doesn't. But I remember, does he have at least a few bullet points?
No, I don't think he has.
No, okay.
So they're still.
That's
I guess they're in the same boat. Like, they're just going to play. Like, I guess they just don't want to actually put anything out there. Like, I don't know. I mean, it just seems weird to me that. I'll put his up. His this is his. That's it. Like, that's it. That's all he's running on. Standing next to fucking Donald Trump. And Trump endorsed. That's
the same picture.
Video, but
is that the same picture of him and Trump? Well, go up. Oh, they got a thumbs up, and then JD Vance.
They put in JD Vance in, and that's it. Like, he believes North Carolina, a stronger America, More money in pockets, safe community, strong country. Cool. About them. Like, I mean, that's it, dude. Like,
there's no buttons. There's no buttons.
There's no buttons. But we did go through a lot of Republicans who had kind of good websites.
This
was not one of them.
That's fair. But we know, what did we say earlier? Hate and racial hierarchy is a very galvanizing force in this country. So we know that's what the Republicans are running on, and that's all they need to run on. They're going to run on against, we're going to take it back to pre-civil rights. So Charlie Kirk was amazing. You know, Erica Kirk is my new spirit animal. You know, like all this, that's all the shit he's going to run on, right? So like, anyway, but yeah, Don Davis, piece of shit. Roy Cooper, you have a chance to redeem yourself. And again, we're going to vote for you, but don't think we're not going to hold you accountable. And the more we see more Americans get harmed, brutalized, spirited away, and murdered, like this whole, like, it needs to exist. I'm just telling you. I'm just telling y'all, like, same way I was right about the police during the encampments, and you know, we were right about it before then. It's going to get worse because we're seeing the decline of empire. And this is always before an empire implodes, it always gets the most violent.
Yeah.
And that's what you are witnessing. Sorry.
Yeah, I will. And one other thing I'll say is, like, one of the reasons why people like Don Davis can say that they can't vote this way is because there's no pressure.
Right.
There might be pressure and accountability from the community, but like when people run, even if you don't win, that actually does help add on to putting pressure on these folks, give people other options. So just saying for people who are, you know, thinking about running.
Well, before we get out of here, here is I thought this was just kind of a power to the people moment of what happens in Minnesota, right? And if you guys don't follow the content creator Renee, she had this really good video. She does these Friday parking lot pimping videos, but this was really good when I saw this morning. I just want to kind of have this go off as we think about standing together in these moments. And this is what the folks in Minnesota, Minneapolis did and at the microphone yesterday, because they did arrest, I talked about this on the Roots Rundown, they did arrest Nekima Levy Armstrong and the Minneapolis Black Lives Matter president. But here is a protester talking about it, and any final remarks before I play this video? Anything before we get out of here?
Oh, I was going to ask you what you thought about the Black Panther, all the Black Panther stuff going. Talk about.
Oh, all right. Then look, let's play this, and then we'll finish with Black Panthers. How about that? All right, let's do that.
Don't come to Minnesota because you will fuck around and find out. We stand in unity. Yes, we don't always agree. And yes, there are racial tensions. But what you see is the community standing together of many nations. And we are not afraid of you, Trump. We will not go back to slavery. You will not take us back to Jim Crow. Our ancestors fought too hard and bled too much and died too long for you to take us back as a nation. This is about the have and have not. As a nation, is this okay? We are all immigrants.
Minnesota, I must say I wasn't familiar with your game. It ain't on you, and it's in you. You don't do it for the fame. You don't do it for the clout. You don't do it for the chase. You got that dog in you, that revolutionary blood in your veins. You are America. The America they didn't count on, but America redeeming the principles it was found on. The America they made trying to serve the 1%. The America systemic oppression forced to exist. Talk about reverse psychology. Talk about self-sabotage. They done induced the birth of a brand new nation. And now the writing is on the wall. We are bigger than them. So let your banner yet wave in this land of the fed up and the home of the brave that I made a monster out of you with a brand new discovery. Took 250 years, but we are finally in recovery.
Minnesota, Minneapolis, we were unfamiliar with your game. But the reason that you're there is because it's a state that has a good social safety net that works for people, and they need to show that it doesn't work. They need to show that a place that has childcare and healthcare and good education are crime-ridden and bad. That's the reason they're there. But what do you think about that video?
It gives me I love it. You know what I'm saying? Like that's the type of people power and the words of wisdom You know, the people like that we look back on the Fred Hamptons and the Malcolm X's and the Martin Luther Kings. They're great orators, they're great speakers, but they said things that inspire people, and I think that's kind of how it's. I think that's how these movements start. And I don't think it's like just one person. I don't think it's just that one person that followed what they say, but it's like the spirit of what they're saying, and to the point. You know, I'll touch on Black Panther. I don't know if you have something to say, but like the Black Panthers, everyone's like, well, this isn't the Black Panthers, and that's not the Black. Like, so first off, the Black Panthers, as I knew it, the original Black Panthers, whether or not they still existed, I did not know them to be a large organization, to be largely organized. I'm familiar with a group called the New Black Panthers Party that for self-defense that is more they're more, I think, Black nationalists that describe themselves as a little more militant than and more hardline in terms of you know, Black nationalism as opposed to coalitions and things like that.
I think
they describe themselves, but regardless, like I know there's entities and I know there's people that call themselves Black Panthers. You know, for me,
about the ones in Philly. Is that where
no, the ones in Philly, they don't consider. They're not. They
okay. I was like, okay, gotcha.
Yeah. No, they are. That's what I'm saying. So there's these little entities, and people are talking about these. As if they're one off top. They're different groups and different segments and entities. Like, so to even try to track it is silly. And so I think that it's the same thing with they did with Black Lives Matter. Oh, that's not Black Lives Matter. That's not the organization. Like, no, people were saying Black Lives Matter because Black Lives Matter, that was a movement, not because they were part of the organizations and trying to dissect who's at the top of the organization and who's official and shit. Like, people didn't get behind that, and people they may or may not get behind Black Panthers like that, but there's probably other groups that are more going to be more effective in terms of self-defense and helping the community. Black Panthers are a legacy that has a message, that has a legacy of speaker. There are so many Black groups that are doing things that like the Black Panthers were doing. So to kind of say that these things don't exist, I think is disrespectful to those groups that are doing the same type of community things. Now, when it comes to like self-defense, you know, having your gun and being very visible, having the all Black, I think that is it sends a message. I think it shows some power, shows some unity, whatever. But I think so many people are looking at that type of imagery as like a fantasy. As in something like they feel like they need that type of, you know, defense of having a gun and being united. And I don't disagree, but I think a lot of people are mentally thinking like that is what's absolutely the most needed thing in this moment. And I don't. I think it's having the heart of a Black Panther to say like, these are the things that I believe, like the woman just said, like she just said, you know, having this realization, having this revolution in your mind, you know, that it doesn't need to be on the street and televised. You need to get it through your mind first. Like, that's how I live. I mean, I got my Black Panther hat on now. I don't need to be in the Black Panther organization officially. Now, if something came along and it would look right to me, then yeah. But like, I just don't need to. I can align and create coalitions with like-minded people that have the same common cause. That's what I'm looking for. I don't need. Like I said, I don't need. I'm glad these people are coming out, but like all this little infighting and like who's who, and if you're putting in work, I think that's what matters. And I will say that people should absolutely be skeptical in terms of who they're allowing into these circles. You know, there are moles everywhere. There's moles in the Democratic Party in Union County, right? So like to be aware, I've seen people that I'm like, this seems very suspicious, this person. And so not because you're going to go off and commit illegal crimes, but because you're going to go off and the rule of law is dead. But these are people you're putting in your strategy, you're bringing in your circle. I mean, we saw what happened with Malcolm. Right? We saw what happened with Fred Hampton. Like, he was sold out. Like, these people. So when you allow these people into your circles, yes, absolutely. They're probably going to be betrayed. People will sell out for the dollar. So I get the skepticism, but damn, like, it's like everyone coming out and like, I'm the son of, I'm the
the niece of Huey P. Yeah. But she's fucking MAGA. She's fucking MAGA. Isn't that crazy? She's MAGA. Yeah. Who was talking about how Charlie Kirk was great. So I don't think Huey would be on your side, niece. But yeah, you're right. You're right. I think that there is a moment where people are collectively looking for meaning. People are collectively looking for some sort of certainty that they can get behind. And I think, to your point, the legacy, right? I mean, to the point, like me and you both have Black Panther merch. It's like it's now been almost commodified, right? Because in the 60s, people wouldn't be caught dead in that were Black even, right? Because only about, probably less than 10% of Black people actually support the Black Panther cause. Because most of us were just trying to survive, and that's them over there. Those crazy radicals.
Too radical. Yeah.
I don't mind not having rights. I don't mind.
It was the defund the police. It was like wearing a hat that said defund the police, right?
And they look in 60 years we'll defund the police. Okay, all right, okay. But no, it's you're making good points, man. It's that people are they should be skeptical. These are organizations that do have a very thick, long legacy within us. That. Hell, I mean, the name Black Panthers started with Stokely Carmichael coming up with that to actually go against the Red Rooster in the South, because back in the day, they told the folks down in the South that when you see the rooster, just pull the lever, and that's all you have to do. And this was the creation of like, well, what if we give Black people an animal, a panther, a Black Panther, and then this went on to then become larger across the country. So yeah, there is a long legacy of its history, but I'm happy that at least folks are tapping into, we don't have to put up with this, because again, I mean, and I don't know if this is what you were probably alluding to, but the emergence of the Philadelphia chapter, which is kind of taken main stage, Birdsong, Chairman Birdsong, has kind of been on the front and foremost, kind of light-skinned brother. He's out there with the all Black on, like, he's talking about what Huey said. He said, oh, I got an original Panther right here with me. And to your point, was he a good Panther? Was he one of the Panthers that was like, FBI? You know what I mean? So to your point, there are legitimate questions. But I think also, even with our community, this is why prosperity gospel works so well on us, is that, the idea of atonement and salvation and liberation is just arm's reach away, is very appetizing. It's very alluring to Black people. So when we see someone like, Chairman Birdsong say, he's saying all the right stuff, he's hitting all the right notes. Hey, sister, we got food over here. We got clothes over here. We're like, damn, this motherfucker, he's saying all the shit in one video, right? He's talking about arm yourself, educate yourself. Oh, we got food and medicine and clothes over here. We're like, that's the whole Black Panther Party. You know what I mean? All in one gulp. Now, then you have creators who kind of on and off, hit or miss, like Amanda Seals, who says stuff like, well, where did he come from? And it's like, all of those things are valid. And I say this, and I do keep Black people a little bit, I do hold us a little bit above. What I mean by that is, like, you are innocent until proven guilty in my eyes, right? So, like, if you're actively telling Black people how to arm themselves, train themselves, feed themselves, be self-sustained, because that too is political. Right. And to your point about the folks who are like, I can't get into politics. It's too much. Organize yourself. Because if not, you need to be a part of the political process. You cannot be a part of the political process. Again, 10-point Black Panther.
Go ahead, continue.
You go ahead with this. This is good too.
But to piggyback off what what we were saying earlier as well, when we were looking at these candidate websites, because you can look at this, the 10-point program, and you can create a platform. You can you can look at this and say, damn, I have this in common. We want freedom. We want power to determine the destiny of our Black and oppressed communities and oppressed, right? Coalition. We want full employment for our people.
Come on. Basic
needs. We want an end to the robbery by the capitalists of our Black and oppressed community. We were talking about that at the beginning. Like everything, they're stealing from the capitalists are stealing from us, and we're worried about Sue and Sammy and
trans bathrooms
taking over. Trans bathrooms at Walmart stealing food and diapers. Right?
Stop kids from playing volleyball.
We want decent housing fit for the shelter of human beings, basic needs.
Come on.
We want education for our people that exposes the true nature of a decadent American society. We want education that teaches us our true history and our role in the present day society. Basic needs. We want completely free healthcare for all Black and oppressed people.
Come on.
Basic needs. We want an immediate end to police brutality and murder of Black people and other people of color, all oppressed people inside the United States.
Sound like defund.
We want an immediate end to all wars of aggression. We want
militarism.
freedom for all Black and poor oppressed people now held in U.S. federal, state, county, city, and military prisons and jails. We want trials by jury of the peers for all persons charged with so-called crimes under the laws of this country. Due process.
That's right.
We want land, bread, housing, education, clothing, justice, peace, and people's community control of modern technology. We just got. We see the technology. We see where that's going.
Tech bros. That's right.
We see what they're doing with the tech. They're not using it for the good of the people.
They sure aren't.
So look, the 10-point plan. Who cannot get around that?
1972. 1972.
So anyone who says that the Black Panthers are,
violent,
Black
crazy,
separatists,
radical.
Black separatists, they wouldn't be down for coalitions with brown and white and Asian.
It's not true.
That's not true. That literally is independent and oppressed people.
So poor is oppressed. If y'all don't know,
and if you are an ally, if you are a white man who's not oppressed, and you
still
can,
poor.
You can still, yeah, but you have to be as a person.
I'm saying
person,
poor,
these things should. These things.
I guess let me clarify real quick. When I say poor, there's the 1%, and then that. So if you, I put it like this: if you don't own a yacht, you're poor. You are working class because there's only two classes: the exploiter class and the working class. And I know we want to believe that there is a middle class that does not exist. That doesn't exist. You are also working class. So all of us come together, and even if you have quote unquote money, even if you have 6-figure jobs, even if you have the big fancy homes and cars, you too deserve free healthcare. You too deserve to have access to quality education. You do. I mean, that's how you expand it.
Yeah. If you took because I know how people get triggered when they see the word Black, when it's on Black. But if you took the word Black and oppressed out of every one of these points, it could be a winning campaign
Democratic Party platformer
in a rural county. It could be a winning strategy in San Francisco. So to be like, it's not that crazy. So that's what I say. When you say the spirit, if you feel like, hey, you just like Black Panther makes you feel good. But it's more. It's got to be about more than just guns and black clothing.
Right.
But literally, if you went, this is from 1960,
72.
So you took this, and we're now 35, almost 35 years later, right?
No, 40 something years later.
My math bad. Yeah, 40. So
50, actually 50 years later. 50. God, math ain't our strong suit. We just talking on this show.
But if you think about it, I mean, how much more relevant can it be?
And today, where we have beyond gilded age separation of income of the wealthy and the non-wealthy, I mean, we're past the gilded age, right? Level of wealth disparity. All of these things hit. If you walked, and this is the bullshit that we're sold from Democrats. And the reason I'm punching on Democrats is because, like, I don't expect shit from the Republican Party. The way it was explained to me by someone a couple weeks ago, that was really good. It's like when people are like, "Stop talking about Democrats, let's fight the Republicans." It's like, look, and she's a woman, but she's like, if there's a man across the street and he's like, cheating on his wife and beating his wife, like, I'm not fucking him. Like, I'm fucking you. You're my husband, and I'm telling you to get better. Like, don't be like, well, look at Johnny across the street. It's like, I don't give a fuck about Johnny. Like, you are my husband. Oh, that's a good point. It's a way of like, look, if we are going to be aligned, I need you to be better. You cannot sit here and tell me, well, the most I can do is act like Johnny. It's like, well, motherfucker, no. Like, what the fuck? Be better, motherfucker.
Yeah.
And that's
I think people all these people chatting in the comments and on Instagram and I would say, look at the 10-point plan.
10-point plan.
Like, people get, even the people, the FBAs,
the
ASOS,
ADOS,
like, to say reparation. Like,
it's all in here.
But even here, we will accept the payment in currency, which will be distributed to our many communities. It's not even. I mean, they weren't even so radical to ask for a check in hand.
Check, right?
To every single person that is a descendant of slavery, right? So
it seems pragmatic to me, Ron.
So this idea that the Black Panther, like, and this is like when I came up, I did think the Black Panther were and not to say that they weren't radical for their time, but exactly. But like, and then I come to know, and so that's why I'll walk around. Like now, it's I don't know. It's maybe fashionable. Maybe as of last week, it's fashionable, right? Like people, I don't know if I've really heard much about Black Panthers till last week,
right? It's going to blow up in the past 2 weeks. It's like everybody's like, and then now there's this discourse of like white women trying to join the Black Panther Party. And it's like,
and then there's the discourse between that. There's that, and then
how do you feel about that?
Then there's look.
Real quick before we get out of here,
I think
how do you feel about white women trying to join the Black Panther Party?
Absolutely. I don't say absolutely. I want to say absolutely not, because the way that the Black Panthers functioned was that you required a coalition,
correct?
Right, and so that means that white women can be more useful in their space to create these. Whether it's a white woman group or a white group, or and you can come together and create this coalition. To me, that's more stronger because you have this common cause at the top, and then you have different groups that have other causes and things, and you might not be locked up with everything they're saying, but at the end of the day, if you are a oppressed group or believe in these things and these common causes. To me, that's more useful, and I also wouldn't say that it. I think you have to be. I'm not saying it has to be exclusive to just Black people, because there might be some white woman putting in work that's doing something. Whatever. There might be a Latino person. So so I'm not saying it's an exclusive thing. I'm just saying that doesn't make sense. And again, this is a fictional organization, by the way, because it doesn't exist as far as I'm concerned. There's no like national thing that you can go and join and sign up. Now, if there was
got my card, please.
This week. Last week, their website would have blown up. There would have been all these applications, and it's not a bad thing. But like, what does that mean? Because, like I said, these organizations exist. It's a matter of like, how do we create the coalition that has power? The coalition that does, that isn't afraid to use their Second Amendment and tout their Second Amendment,
right?
To say that you're not going to, you're not going to tread on us, right? Like. The left is looking. That's what left is really looking for. I believe at the end of the day, they want people that are basically saying, "We got our guns, we have our power, we're going to hold shit down."
Right.
And they in that press conference you played, she said it. She didn't have a gun in her hand, and she said it, but she said
you felt it,
and the 10 toes down, right? So you felt it. Yeah, you felt it.
The great Deontay Kyle had a post about this, and he said, people like to bring up the Rainbow Coalition, where he talks about, that they integrated the Young Lords, the Puerto Ricans, the Young Patriots. He said, but what's missing out of all of that is that in this idea of like white women trying to join the Black Panther Party, is that those were already groups that were already organized, right? Like the Young Lords, the Young Patriots, and the Black Panthers came to get, because y'all were already organized. So go to and you just said it, like, go organize in the Karen Coalition, organize yourselves in your area first, and then like, hey, can we work together as organizations?
And there was a White Panther Party, and there was a Young Patriots, which were both white groups, but one was I think in Chicago, and one was or urban, and the other one was rural. Young Patriots was like a rural, right? And so like
had the Confederate flag.
Yeah. You had the Confederate flag.
Now, people like to use that as a wedge to be like, oh well, they're the Confederate flag, so you can go talk to MAGA. What's left out in history when we tell that story is that Fred Hampton told the leader of the Young Patriots that y'all gotta fucking jettison all that white supremacy shit, so y'all can no longer have that Confederate flag. So their initial meeting when they all first joined up, you do see that in the picture. But after that, they all had to then unlearn. They had to unlearn systemic their white supremacy and work to dismantle systemic racism. Some of those gentlemen, they're still existed now, or they lived a long life, were the most adamant about fighting anti-Black racism. But from that moment in that first picture to that first picture kind of like hits everybody in the face like, oh, they got the Confederate flag. So look, embrace MAGA. Look, he let it fly for one day. He's like, y'all can put that shit up for one day.
Yeah, what I think it would be more powerful is people were starting to search for what does the Rainbow Coalition in 2026 look like?
Yes,
right.
Like
that to me is more important than trying to cosplay. And
yes, you're right.
You know what I'm saying? So the coalition is really what it comes down to at this point.
Yep.
Like that's it. Like that.
And
that
what
really
powers
is
do
it.
you have to be able to leverage to help other people, right? Not just because really, I think the reaction to white women trying to join the Black Panther Party was protect me. You guys all have the guns. You guys are already organized, and I'm not a part of those bad whites. I'm a good one. I voted for Kamala Harris. I'm not racist, and that it also goes back to Deontay Cowell's point where he said, but what that does, it prioritizes white women's priorities versus the cause of the collective, right? This is why white feminism isn't really feminism, because it prioritizes the needs of white women and not all women. And that's why you can't allow white women to co-opt a movement like Black Lives Matter, like countless other initiatives and movements in the past.
Yeah, I think it's what's interesting, and this is kind of an opinion or really a thought, but like
not on this show, an opinion or a thought,
to be like a little more, but like, the idea of we're resting, Black folks, we're resting, we're not, and instinctively, that was an instinctual thing that was adopted by many Black people. And I think for some people, we're resting meant like doing nothing, but for a lot of people, we're resting was doing things behind the scenes or doing things that were, and for a lot of people said we're resting, all you do is vote, shut up to you.
That was right.
But I think what was becoming crystal more clear to me is that it has allowed or required white folks and non-Black people to actually be on the front lines and kind of step up. And I think it's a really good thing, because I feel like a lot of white folks and people were like, had a sigh of relief. Like they felt like the cavalry is here when they see these, these images on social media, and it's not, the cavalry's not here. Like there's no, and it's not going to be the Black Panthers. I'll tell you that. Sure. It's not. Yeah. Because we're not, it's not organized yet. Not in the way that,
it's not scaled.
But in terms of the coalitions and stuff, those coalitions are happening. I just think that these coalitions and these groups need to be a little bit more realistic about where we're at and what's required.
Right.
Because the Indivisible, and I'm part of Indivisible, but the Indivisible parades aren't it. The protests outside of Teslas, on the random corners,
it's nice.
It's nice, but it's just not. It's not it. It's not what's
You're
required.
Not
and I hate
capital.
And the problem is and I always, I don't hate, I don't like criticizing the people that are trying to do work, because there's a lot of we're already the minority of the minority of the minority of the people. So it's but we have to also be critical, because those people are the ones that have to actually uplift,
correct,
rise the ocean around them. So,
and if they look at it because I think also what happens in whiteness too is they want to solve everything. If they don't have an answer for it right now, the stress they're feeling right now is okay, how do we solve this ICE thing? We got to solve this ICE thing now. It's again, this is a 400-year project. I have ancestors that born, lived, and died, never saw freedom, but they still fought for their brief amount of time on this blue marble. So there's this level of how do we solve this? To your point, what you just said, and it's hey man, what we need you to do, and what happens? They get burnt out, they get stressed out, and then they get one little bit of criticism. Then it's well, I'm done, I'm out of here. And but to your point, what they should be doing is taking this knowledge, this introspection, this reflection, and this knowledge back to their communities to get more people to take the weight off their shoulders. Now they have a broader coalition. To your point earlier, more Karens, all right, let's come together. It's not just you trying to be the hero, because that hero complex is deep in white supremacy. This is why I had a white woman tell me, she's in Democratic Party leadership. She said, "Oh, I want to protect black people." You can't protect black people. In fact, it is not your. We're not looking for you to protect us. We've never asked white people protect us, because who's harming us? It's white people. What we need you to do is go get in the fucking way of your people. What we need you to do is create a coalition to change the hearts, minds, and hopefully votes of your people. We don't need you to be the superhero and stand out.
I think that's it, because we go back to what we talked to at the beginning of this when we said, well, who are we talking to? It's like, we know we're talking to liberals, but like, because we're sure shit aren't trying to, like, why are we going to sit there and try to convince MAGA? Like that's gone. Like if in January 23rd, 2026, you're still Republican, still MAGA, don't see a problem.
Hey,
cut it off.
Good on.
But to your point, like, even the people in your house that might be MAGA, like, divorce them, like they're lost cause, like, or like if you feel the need to stay with them, or be in your family, like I would be
disown your son.
I would be heartbroken if my kids.
No question. I failed as a father.
Or even watching, Charlie Kirk. Like anyway,
like Gavin.
But to the point of like,
I fucking failed, bro.
You actually need to be. I think the work right now is actually getting your people who are like, that's wrong. This is so wrong, but then they kind of just sit back and do nothing about it. Like, or they're going to vote in 2026. Like, I don't think that's going to be enough. Well, for one, we know it's not going to be enough because, as you said, this is a 400-year. This stuff has been relevant, but it's not going to get us out of this. Like, the vote is not going to get us out of where we're at. This is a 10-year, 20-year recovery as of today.
It's generational.
As of today. And every day that goes by, it becomes longer and longer and
harder and harder,
exponentially, right?
Yep.
So I think your mission, whoever's listening, who's, the people who are listening are generally the ones putting in work.
Yep.
Is the ones that are, your mission is to talk to your friends and your family who are consider themselves on the same side, who are allies, to figure out how they can use their voice, how they can use their dollar, how they can, use their body, how they can use their privilege. Do that. And you don't have to be out here, Black Power,
kneeling with kente cloth,
AR-15. You don't have to do that. Like, you don't have to even protest. But I promise you,
literally, we need you at your dinner table.
You can buy a gift card. You can buy a meal for people that are doing the work. You can actually feed the people. That is a role.
Yes,
that is a role. You can take care of children. You can fundraise. You can do so much. You can market. You can create a marketing campaign. You can do so much in your community.
You have all the power, privilege, and resources and platforms. So, all right, we're well over time. Any final words, Ron? Actually, that 30 minutes.
That was good. I'm gonna cut. What I'll do. This is good. I'm gonna create. At this point, I'm gonna cut this. Create another little episode, almost like what's Jennifer Welch's podcast called?
Oh, I've had it.
They do full episodes and they cut it. I think this is unexpectedly a good segment.
Yeah, yeah. Well, folks, I think we have a guest coming on Sunday. Are you available Sunday?
Yeah, I'm Sunday.
He's an activist. So
you can do it, Mitch. Feel free to do it by yourself.
I can do it. Okay.
The caveat is that I might be stuck here. So, one more thing. So I'm trying to fly out. But the weather. What's coming up in North Carolina? Like, let's say, I feel also a little bit underprepared as somebody who's a prepper and a light prepper. They say that we get 1 to 3 inches of ice here and the power's going to be out and it can last for like 2 weeks. I'm like, wait.
Proud to be an American.
Guys,
we're at least
this might be a good practice. This is good practice for potential. Look, I'm not, whether it's cyber attacks, widespread outages, Verizon was down 2 weeks ago. I'm just saying, just be a little bit prepared. Take this time to, have a plan, to create a plan. So when shit does hit the fan, you feel a little bit more ready.
I hear that.
That's my advice.
All right,
folks,
man. Yeah, we will see y'all. I may see y'all. Well, I'll see y'all on Sunday because I'm sure some more shit's gonna pop off. But Rom, thanks for joining us. Thanks for a really engaging conversation, folks in the chat. We didn't get too many chats up. Kara has been kind of leading the force there inside the chat. But we'll see y'all on Sunday. And I got a funny video that I'm gonna lead us off on. So we will see y'all next time. Oh, terrible capitalist. Please make sure you like, share, and subscribe. The Radical Roots podcast is how we grow. It's how we stay independent. It's how we get the news directly to you through a black and brown lens. And, if you can give us a couple of dollars, it helps us out. It helps us maintain this really cool platform, do all the cool shit with the clips and the scrolls and all the good stuff. So please make sure you do that. And if you're not, you can always go to our website as a way to directly donate to us as well. If you're not watching this later, you got something wrong?
Nope, that'd be good. Let's roll this out. Take us out.
All right, I got this clip here, and we'll see y'all on next time. Peace.
You want me to wear one of these? I don't think so. The government can't tell me what to do. You can't tell me what to do. Okay? I can't breathe. I can't breathe. These things are stifling my rights. You gotta stand up and tell the government they can't tell me what to do. Yeah, of course they shot her. She wasn't listening. You gotta listen to the government. They're in charge. You don't listen, you get shot. You don't listen, you get shot. It's simple. Can't make me do this. I have a disease. Look, I got the papers that say I don't have to listen to this. I can eat whatever I want. I can do whatever I want. The government, they ain't nothing. You have to listen to the government. They're in charge. Be reasonable. You need to listen to the government. It's that simple. You don't want to get shot? Do what they say. Nah, I don't listen to the powers of the world. I listen to God's rules. And the Bible tells me that unto the people shall not be given a rule that is not what I want. That's in the book of Joshua, chapter 5, verse 3. Look it up. And the Bible teaches that if you come into a country without due process, you shall be removed henceforth. So I trust the government's doing what the Bible says. I will die before listening to the government. If the government tells you to get out of your car, you get out of your car, lady. Or you go to prison, or you get shot, and it doesn't matter. Don't you understand? You listen. If the government thinks they're going to come into our place of worship and tell us what to do, they got another thing coming. But you're complaining because ICE came into your church? Yeah, they have the right to do that. If they even think that there's someone in there who should not be in there, they can bust down any door they want. Just pause your church service, man. Come on, folks. We elected these people. They have the right to do as they please. Follow the rules. I will march. I will protest. I will go to the ends of the earth to fight this tyranny. Protesters should be shot on sight. Standing against our elected officials. How dare you? How dare you? Like I'm going to let anybody else tell me who and when and how many people I can hang out with. Go home, people. The government wants you to go home. The officials say go home. Go home. All these Asian people wearing masks. So stupid. So dumb. Get them out of here. Get them out of here. All these Asian people. Get them out of here. Get them out.